Why is it that when someone hurts us deeply, our first instinct is almost always the one that makes us feel worse? Think about it. She betrayed your trust, broke your heart, or maybe just slowly eroded your sense of self-worth over time. And what was your response? Anger that consumed you from within, silent treatment that left you isolated, or perhaps revenge fantasies that played on repeat, taking up valuable real estate in your mind? I get it. When someone you care about causes you pain, especially someone you've been vulnerable with, it feels like a violation of the natural order. It feels unjust, and your mind immediately begins searching for a way to restore balance, to make sense of it all. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to acknowledge. Almost every instinctive reaction we have to being hurt only extends our suffering. Let me ask you something. How long have you been carrying this pain? How many hours have you spent replaying what happened, what she said, what you should have said? How many conversations have you had with friends where you've gone over the same ground, seeking validation, but never finding relief? I was caught in this cycle for years. The details don't matter. What matters is that I thought my pain was special, that my situation was uniquely complex, that no one could possibly understand the depth of my hurt. I was wrong. Pain is universal. What's unique is how we choose to respond to it. You've probably heard the common advice. Just move on. Time heals all wounds. The best revenge is living well. There's truth in these platitudes, but they skip over the real work, the necessary struggle that happens before healing can begin. They offer the destination without providing the map. So let's talk about what actually works. Not what temporarily numbs the pain or what society tells you should work, but what genuinely creates a path forward when someone has hurt you deeply. The response that works, the only response that truly works, is radical acceptance followed by intentional growth. Pause. I know that might sound like another empty platitude, but I'm not talking about passive acceptance or toxic positivity. I'm talking about something much more difficult, much more transformative. Radical acceptance means fully acknowledging what happened without minimizing it or exaggerating it. It means looking at the situation with clear eyes and saying, yes, this happened. Yes, it hurt. And yes, I'm still here. This isn't about forgiveness, at least not yet. It's not about making excuses for the person who hurt you or pretending you don't feel what you feel. It's about accepting reality as it is, not as you wish it were. Why is this so important? Because you cannot transform what you don't acknowledge. When you're stuck in denial, when you're replaying alternative scenarios in your mind, when you're fixated on how things should have been, you're using your precious energy to fight against reality itself. And reality always wins that battle. I remember sitting alone in my apartment, surrounded by memories of someone who was no longer in my life, asking myself, how did I get here? The answer was painful but simple. I got there one decision at a time, one compromise at a time, one moment of looking away from red flags at a time. Accepting that truth was excruciating, but it was also the first real step toward healing. The second part of this response, intentional growth, is where the real power lies. This is where you transform pain into progress. When someone hurts you, especially someone close to you, it creates a wound, yes, but it also creates an opening, an opportunity to learn something essential about yourself, about your patterns, about what you truly need and value. Ask yourself, what does this pain reveal about what matters to me? What boundaries did I fail to establish or enforce? What parts of myself did I compromise or neglect in this relationship? What warning signs did I ignore because I wanted so badly for things to work? These questions aren't about blaming yourself for someone else's actions. They're about reclaiming your power by recognizing where you have agency. The hard truth is that while you can't control how others treat you, you do have control over what you tolerate, what you participate in, and how you respond. Think about it. She may have hurt you, but how you carry that hurt, how long you carry it, and what you do with it, that's entirely up to you. When I finally understood this, something shifted. I stopped seeing myself as a victim of circumstances and started seeing myself as the author of my next chapter. The pain didn't magically disappear, but it stopped defining me. It became information instead of identity. Now I want to be clear about something. This approach doesn't mean you should never express anger, never set boundaries, or never remove yourself from harmful situations. On the contrary, recognizing your worth often requires exactly those actions. But there's a crucial difference between responding from a place of reactive emotion and responding from a place of grounded self-awareness. When you're reactive, you're still under the control of the person who hurt you. Your actions are determined by their actions. You're still tied to them by invisible strings of resentment and unmet expectations. But when you respond from a place of radical acceptance and intentional growth, you're acting from your center. You're making choices based on what serves your well-being, not what might hurt them back or what might make them finally understand. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say she betrayed your trust in a significant way. The reactive response might be to lash out, to try to hurt her back, or to withdraw completely and build walls around your heart. These responses feel protective in the moment, but they often leave you isolated, bitter, and stuck. The response that actually works looks more like this. You acknowledge the full reality of what happened. You allow yourself to feel the pain, anger, and disappointment without judgment. You get support from people who can hold space for these feelings without fueling your reactivity. And then, crucially, you ask yourself what this experience has to teach you. Maybe you learn that you need to trust your intuition more. Maybe you discover that you've been accepting treatment that falls far below what you deserve. Maybe you realize that you've been looking for validation in relationships instead of bringing validation to relationships. Whatever insights emerge, they become stepping stones on your path forward. They become the raw material for building a stronger, more authentic version of yourself. This is the paradox of healing from interpersonal hurt. The person who caused your pain doesn't hold the key to your recovery. You do, and the key isn't found in changing their behavior or making them understand how they hurt you. It's found in your willingness to use this experience as a catalyst for your own evolution. The journey of turning hurt into growth isn't linear. There will be days when the pain feels fresh again, when you fall back into old thought patterns, when the what-ifs and if-onlys crowd your mind. That's normal. Healing isn't about never feeling hurt again. It's about developing a new relationship with the hurt when it arises. One practice that helped me tremendously was to get curious about my reactions instead of being consumed by them. When feelings of hurt or anger would surface, I'd ask myself, what's underneath this? What am I really afraid of here? What does this remind me of? Often, I found that current hurts were amplified by older, deeper wounds. By bringing compassionate awareness to these connections, I could begin to disentangle present pain from past trauma. This didn't erase the hurt, but it did make it more manageable. Another powerful practice is to consciously shift your focus from what was taken from you to what remains available to you. When someone hurts you, especially someone you love, it can feel like they've diminished your world. But the truth is, they've only changed it. Your capacity for joy, connection, creativity, and purpose remains intact, even if it feels temporarily obscured. Ask yourself, what still brings me alive? What connections still nourish me? What ambitions still call to me? By redirecting your attention toward these sources of meaning, you reclaim territories of your life that may have been overshadowed by the hurt. Now, you might be wondering about forgiveness. It's a complicated topic, and contrary to popular wisdom, I don't believe forgiveness is always necessary for healing. What's necessary is releasing the grip that resentment has on your life. Sometimes that happens through forgiveness, but sometimes it happens through acceptance and creating healthy distance. The question isn't, should I forgive her, but rather, what relationship with this experience allows me to move forward with freedom and wholeness? For some, that means reconciliation. For others, it means compassionate detachment. There's no universal prescription here, only the wisdom that comes from honest self-reflection. As we close, I want to acknowledge something important. This approach requires courage. It's much easier in the short term to numb out, to blame others entirely, to protect yourself by shutting down. The path of radical acceptance and intentional growth asks more of you. It asks you to stay present with uncomfortable truths. It asks you to take responsibility for your healing. It asks you to transform rather than just endure.